you could join us today for this wonderful interview. We have the fabulous author Joy Iweka, the author of Unveiling Joy, that I had discussed on the platform and highlighted on my platform over the past few weeks. As you know, we like to talk about stories because stories are important, not just fiction, but also nonfiction. And this is just a wonderful opportunity to talk to somebody who had the courage to write their life story. So, author Joy, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. And I have some questions that I hope in answering you can shed some more light into not just your story, but also the art behind writing the book. Okay? So I'll ask you a few questions. First of all, the book was beautifully written. I loved it very much. You know, I was captivated. I had to, on many nights, tell myself, go to sleep because you have clinic tomorrow, you know, so that you don't stay up reading it all night. So it was really well done. And as a biography writing coach, I'm always interested in the logistics behind each memoir or autobiography. So did you write on your own, or did you write with a coach, or did you use a ghostwriter?
Okay, so this is all my voice. In other words, I wrote the book.
Wow.
But I finished the book entirely, and because I wanted it to appeal to people at home, people in diaspora, as well as Americans, I mean, the world in general. So what I did was that I got a Nigerian editor that edited it for me, so she could see the book from the Nigerian perspective. Mm-hmm. And then I also got someone that lives in America that, also did the second layer of auditing, just so the book will be relatable not just to Nigerians, but to, the world in general. Okay. So to answer your question, yes, it's all my voice. I wrote it, and I just got editors to help me, tighten some loose ends here and there.
Love it, love it, love it. I think the most powerful memoirs and autobiographies are written in such a way that the reader has something to gain. Perhaps a roadmap for their lives or encouragement in their own struggle. Can you tell me which messages you wanted to convey in your story?
Oh, man, a lot of messages, a lot. I always tell people that I'm every woman, and I'm not talking about the song I'm Every Woman, because that means something entirely different. So when I say I'm every woman, I mean, what I mean is that I've been through what almost every woman would have been through. And when I say that, I mean childhood abuse, rejection, rape, domestic violence, you name it, know? Mm. So when I was writing the book, I was writing to women in general, because if there's a part of the book that will always resonate with a woman. If it's not a woman that was abused in childhood, it's a woman that's been through domestic abuse or struggling with status, being out of status in America, whatever, you name it. So parenting, parenting as a single mother, most importantly, so you name it. So the book was written for every woman. You just find your niche, find your stage, whatever stage or whatever aspect of the book that you think you can identify with. I really think that, just it touches everybody, because it touches almost every aspect of my life. And I tell people, I say, someone that knows me said to me after reading the book, he said, if I didn't know you, I came into your life in chapter, I can't remember what chapter he mentioned, but let's say chapter 7. Okay. So I came into your life in chapter 7, page something. Now, if I didn't know you, I would have thought that, oh my God, this is just a bunch of fiction. Oh. But because I lived an aspect of this, your life with you, I can tell that this is real, So, as fantastic as it sounds, that was my life, you know? And I just felt that I would be doing the world injustice if I didn't tell the story, you know, if I died with the story, you know?
I love that. I couldn't say that any better. You know, if you die with a story, I hope readers, sorry, excuse me, this spill, let me put it back up. I hope readers are listening, you know, the power of your story and the power you can use to uplift other people, and just the thought of dying with your story. I think that should move people to go and write, you know, that's so important. Here's another question I have. Some aspects were very difficult for me to read. I still cannot understand the treatment you received from your mother and her family. I can almost forgive somebody else, but the mother, I find it hard to forgive. You know, a child is innocent, didn't ask to be born. And so I really struggled there. Your story ended without closure on that aspect. Are you still in touch with them?
So for the longest time, my mother was not in my life. Again, she didn't really want to have anything to do with me. And, you know, after a while, I came to terms with that and I moved on. I stopped, you know, seeking that love and that validation because it was obvious that she didn't have that to give to me. And it got so much better after I had my own children, you know, and I'm like, I mean, so having my children did two things for me. It actually made me, it made me resent my mother even more than I did, because I was like, how could you bring a child into the world and not feel this thing that I feel for my children? But on the other hand, it also kind of like took my attention away from, you know, seeking her love and her validation so much. So, you know, I got on with my life, but a couple of years ago, it's not like she wanted to come back in, but something happened, and I was informed to, you know, I don't know. I really don't want to say too much, you know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
But something happened, and something happened, and my attention was called to it, and that was how I kind of entered her life. She didn't seek me; it wasn't her choice. In fact, when this person approached me and told me about this situation, I told the person, I said, "Did you talk to her? How, you know, does she want me involved?" And he said he talked to her and that she wasn't interested. So I said, so fine. So why are you calling me then? If she's not interested, why do you think I should get involved? Anyway, you know, we are very religious people, Nigerians, you know, so he brought the religious perspective, and you know, I mean, this is something that has always been shoved down my throat, which is another thing that I started to resent people about, because it's almost like they were making me the villain, and then the villain was now the victim, you know. So I would call that emotional. I think that was emotional blackmail, to be honest. But anyway, I fell for it eventually. I resisted for a few days, but then I fell for it. So I re-entered her life, but not in the capacity that I would have liked to. You know what I mean? But I re-entered her life nevertheless. And my children always ask me, Mom, why do you bother? Why, you know, why? It's of no use if, you know, someone doesn't think they want you in their lives. Why? And I say to them, I say, listen, you may not understand it, but there's something about for lack of a better word, mother-daughter attraction that you may not understand. That if anything happens to this woman tomorrow, I would feel guilt. Even though I really do not deserve to feel any guilt, but I will. So I told them, I said, listen, just take it to be that I'm doing this for myself. not for her per se. So that if anything happens to her tomorrow, I am void and free of every guilt. You know what I mean? I said to them, I said, because I'm not going to be tortured while she's alive, and then when she moves on or dies, and then I continue to be tortured. So I said, I'm doing this for myself.
For yourself.
You know? Yes. So,
it's almost like they say you forgive. Like they say you forgive for yourself, right? Not for the other person necessarily.
Exactly. Precisely.
That was hard for sure. And let's talk about your marriage a little bit. You left your marriage to save your life, and you found a way to thrive through much adversity. So what do you have to say to a woman out there who might be watching this, who's struggling? What do you have to say? And when I say struggle, I suppose that's not a very fair question, because it's a very general term. I mean, someone like Michelle Obama talks about hard years in her marriage, you know? In other words, the very institution of marriage, of merging two separate people, always comes with some strife. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the really dangerous kind of struggle. You know what I mean? What do you have to say to somebody like that?
Well, I'll say to them, you know, think about your life. Think about your children. If you do have children in that marriage, think about them. A lot of times women say, oh, I'm enduring all of this for my children. And I tell them, I said, no, that is actually one of the most selfish reasons. That is one of the most selfish things you would ever have to do, being in a situation like that for your children. Because the truth is, you're not teaching them anything. What you're teaching your daughters is that it's okay to be abused. And what you're teaching your sons is that it's okay to abuse, or even to be abused, because boys also, or men also do get abused. I'll tell them, I'll say, think about your life, and think about your children, and think about the toxic environment where you're raising these children. And because of that, you need to leave. You need to leave. There's it never gets better. An abuser is an abuser, period. They don't change. People don't change. I'm sorry, I'm probably being pessimistic, but that is the truth. I have never really heard of an abuser who suddenly wakes up and decides that, oh, I'm going to stop abusing. So you're just there, just compromising the quality of your life, and then just setting the wrong examples for your children. So I'll say to them, don't think too much about it. Just leave. You're going to be fine. You know, it's whatever you face out there is not going to be any worse than what you're going through right now if you're there in that situation. So just leave.
Interesting. Well, that's true. Yeah, unless if somebody within themselves wants to change, it's not. First of all, it's not common. It's not easy to change, actually. But somebody who wants to change and does the work, you know, outside of that, it's really hard for people to suddenly become something else. That's really true. So let's move a little bit on to other things that you talked about. So you wrote a lot that would help anybody, even somebody parenting, you know, raising children across the diaspora. What do you have to say to the mom to young children who wants them to excel and have every opportunity but doesn't know where to start?
You know, when I was writing my book, I initially I wasn't going to outline the things I did with my children, but then I thought about it. I said, you know what? Let me list these things in my book, you know, and actually tell them that you've got to be intentional with your parenting if you want to. It's not something, you know, people say, oh, I want my children to go to Ivy League schools. But do they really know that you actually start from when they're in kindergarten to prepare them? You know? It's not something you leave until the last minute and then wait and realize that, oh, this is really something that I think is going to be cool. You've got to start from when they're really young. You've got to, I mean, not every child is, well, let me rephrase it. We shouldn't qualify success based on just academics. So if you have children that are what's the word now? Gifted, you know, and you know that it's something you desire for them. I think you need to start early. Okay. You know, seek out opportunities. It's a great country, you know. Seek out opportunities for like gifted schools, take them to get tests, and just make sure you're gathering all the information and all the resources you need, because they're out there. And that's what I did, you know. I woke up every morning expecting opportunities, being mindful of doors that opened for me. You know? So that is what I'll say. Like, you've got to be intentional, you know, and you've got to be disciplined. You've got to stay on it. You can't like do it for 1 month and then, oh, I'm tired. No, you've got to keep at it. Of course, for everything we need, for every time we succeed, these are some of the things we have to do, right? Consistency, focus, you know. So that's what I would tell them.
I think intentionality is so important, and starting early. Thank you for sharing that. And I actually read somewhere that you coach parents of gifted children. Can you tell us more about that? Is that true?
Well, yeah, because my day job or my career takes up most of my time, so I really haven't taken it to the state that I would really like it to get to.
Okay.
But I do coach children, mothers of fathers of gifted children. Just you know, well, I started with the ones in Chicago, you know, pointing out the resources I use for my children. Hey, you know, do you know about these exams? You know, you can get them enrolled in this. Oh, have you, you know? So yes, I do that, not on a large scale, but I do.
Okay. Maybe in future. We can grow it into something. There's quite a market for maybe people who didn't go to school in the U.S. system, but whose kids are going through the U.S. system. I find there's often a disconnect, not really knowing how it works here. Some of the societies outside of here are very academics focused, and then you come here and everything matters, you know, extracurricular activities, piano, flute, something else a child does can help them stand out. And, you know, those parents don't really usually know that very well. So anyway, okay, well, those are the questions I had. Do you want to tell us where we can get copies of your book in the USA and outside the USA?
So you can find my book on Amazon. There's the hard copy and then the soft copy.
Okay.
And then from Nigeria, I haven't quite worked out the logistics of how to upload the soft copies, but I do have an agent.
Okay.
Who can get the book across to you if to them if they reside in Nigeria and they want copies of the book.
Okay, so the information is something you can share, right?
Yes. Well, I don't know her Facebook name, my agent, is Victoria Yetunde. I don't know. Okay. Is there a way we can?
Okay. Or maybe we'll find a way for you to tag her on the post.
To tag her on the
post. So people can see her. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for your time. So this is Joy Iweka, the author of Unveiling Joy. There's so much glitter, but I hope you can glare, rather. I hope you can see Unveiling Joy. It's available on Amazon. I loved reading this book. Thank you so much for sharing your talent, your story, the lessons you've learned, even sharing your mistakes courageously to guide and uplift other people. Thank you again.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Dr. Uche. I'm your friendly publisher, biography writing coach, book reviewer, a real-life physician too. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit subscribe. That way you know when I upload new videos, share with your family and friends. Follow me on this fascinating journey as I talk all about stories on this channel, children's book read aloud sessions, fiction from across the diaspora, and tips to help you on your journey to writing your biography. You take care, and I'll see you in my next video.